A civilian house as an observation post. When the locals prepare to storm the building, the soldiers find themselves trapped.
Actisus, they are calling all Muslims to jihad. Jihad is coming now.
Above the district through the thermal imager of a drone circling in the sky using an external transmitter.
If desired, you can reach us directly by going over the rooftops.
Medic Team Sam, doing push-ups during breaks, keeps an eye on the situation through the window. Radio operator Mendoza maintains communication with headquarters. They report that the clearing is complete and that Allied units are changing locations. The soldiers alleviate the tedious waiting as best they can. Shooter Tommy, a newcomer to the team, can't find his place. Unlike his slightly more experienced ambush colleagues, he is bursting with boundless energy.
Solobon is nervous.
The air support specialists are amusing themselves by filling their mouths with water and spitting it back into the bottle to see if a colleague dares to drink it. After some time, Elliot notices the return of a suspicious man in a white t-shirt who had previously been glancing towards their hideout. Checking the drone data, Squad Commander Eric reports to the base that the enemy has presumably started moving towards them. Apparently, they heard the nighttime hammering on the wall.
Alpha 2, this is First. It looks like they're approaching us.
However, apart from small movements on the street, there are no confirmations of a planned attack. Even when the sniper notices a couple more observers on the roof, the Marines suspect that the locals are scouting for convenient approaches. The base reports that due to an attack on another squad, air support has been redirected there. Afterwards, people from the market began to hurriedly gather to go home. Translators from among the local collaborators who were guarding their compatriots downstairs report that on local radio frequencies there are calls to kill the Americans holed up in the house.
They are calling all Muslims to jihad. Jihad is coming now. Kill you.
The commander orders them to guard the first floor. The Marines themselves continue to wait, staying vigilant. As the soldier's wisdom goes, be scared but stay alert. After changing partners, Frank sees a car approaching the market, from which 4 people exit. They discreetly carry a machine gun from the trunk, but Frank notices the weapon too late to shoot. At that moment, a grenade flies into the observation hole. The soldiers barely manage to scatter in different directions. Those who were in the room are slightly stunned, and Elliot is also hit by shrapnel. The fighters prepare for defense as the house comes under fire. Ray fires at the door behind which the locals are running. Tommy covers Elliot and Frank's retreat as they crawl. After regrouping in the central room, Sam checks the sniper's wound. Although he got off lightly, the radio operator requests evacuation and air support, but no luck with the latter. Due to attacks on other groups, there aren't enough helicopters. Sir? Yes. Eric orders a retreat to the first floor to prepare for evacuation, which is in 10 minutes. As they leave, MacDonald takes the transmitter, an expensive and necessary item. The snipers are worried that they left their gear in the room. The commander goes back for it, but due to the dust raised by the explosion, finds nothing. Since there are bulletproof vests and load-bearing equipment, they have to return once more. With the support of Sam and Tommy, Eric finds the gear. Having gathered the gear scattered around the rooms, the squad prepares to move downstairs. Before descending, Sam detonates the mines set on the balcony in case an enemy is lurking there, which results in him getting slightly stunned. On the first floor, the Marines gather at the entrance, ready to evacuate the wounded as soon as the armored Bradley arrives. Eric explains the plan. Evacuate the wounded, load them into the vehicle, return to the house, hold the defense, and complete the tasks.
As soon as Elliot is in the tank, we all go back inside the building.
The soldiers put the local interpreters first to exit, just in case something goes wrong. Having placed the air support specialist to guard the homeowners, Eric checks with the radio operator which side the transport will come from to orient themselves faster. The remaining minutes until the arrival of the Bradley pass in nervous anticipation. When the crew reports that it is approaching, Frank throws a smoke grenade out the door for cover. Upon receiving the command to move out, the Marines first let the translators go outside, pausing after their exit. Making sure that the locals opened the gate instead of firing, the soldiers lead their wounded out in a tight line. But as soon as they stepped out of the yard, a powerful explosion of an improvised bomb with white phosphorus went off. The translators were torn apart by the explosion, and the Marines were scattered around the perimeter. Regaining consciousness after the concussion, Sam sees how the solar fire of the atmosphere pierced the armor but did not penetrate the fog. Tommy, raising the machine gun, opens harassing fire over the heads where enemies might be on the roofs. Ray sees Elliot lying unconscious and bleeding. The situation rapidly worsens when the Bradley crew realizes they are not welcome, raises the ramp, and leaves. To avoid staying in the open when the smoke clears, Eric drags Sam back into the house, who screams in pain during the process. Stunned, Ray, coming to his senses, drags Elliot behind him. His legs are shattered by the explosion and bend unnaturally, catching on the corner of the wall. The radio operator has to call a comrade for help to drag the sniper. Air defense specialists request air support, but it cannot be sent yet. Eric, seeing that the squad is losing combat capability and the enemy could attack at any moment, calls his colleague Jake, the commander of Alpha 2, to come to their aid. As coordinates, he indicates the smoke rising into the sky. However, they cannot move too quickly because they are also being fired upon. When explosions are heard outside, the soldiers realize it's better to move away from the door. Sam screams in pain as he's dragged deeper into the house, while Elliot silently leaves bloody trails behind him. Ray examines the medic to find the bleeding and plug the wound, but his efforts cause him pain. MacDonald is cutting Elliot's pant leg with scissors to apply tourniquets. The sniper's legs are mangled to a pulp.
Manjur 6 X-ray, this is Frown 6 Romeo.
Oh, damn.
The signalman requests evacuation again, but the radio doesn't catch. However, McDonald's aviation can offer this demonstration of force.
Confirming Wild Eagle 2-4. Show of force from south to north in 30 seconds.
Unable to conduct a bombing attack from the air, the plane makes a turn at an extremely low altitude to demoralize the enemy with noise and airflow. However, even Ray almost loses consciousness from such a maneuver. He, like the commander, has not yet recovered from the concussion. Ray cuts Sam's pant leg to find the wound and apply a tourniquet higher up, but the radio operator's hands are shaking, so he can't thread the strap through the hole. He tries to close the wound by pressing on it with his knee, which the commander notices and tightens the tourniquet himself. Accompanied by a scream of pain, Elliot woke up and immediately added a fresh stream to the hellish cacophony.
Naren, give me morphine! Give me morphine!
MacDonald wants to inject the sniper with morphine, but by mistake, grabbing the syringe the wrong way, injects the painkiller into his own finger. However, on the second attempt, he manages to do everything correctly. Sam also receives a dose of the medication. He demands more, but Ray refuses to avoid an overdose. Eric, realizing he can't handle it after the concussion, goes to the owner's bedroom, where he just sits on the bed. Alpha 2 fights its way to the colleagues despite being shot at from almost every rooftop by the locals. Picking up another allied squad along the way, the Marines move as a united crowd through the dusty streets. Recognizing the destination by the scattered debris, the soldiers warn that they are entering the house and, throwing a smoke grenade, move to the gates. Ray, who is dazed, sees them as a Salvation Army, but the illusion quickly fades when one of the clumsy fighters bumps into Sam's leg. When the situation repeats, it almost leads to a fight. Commander Jake asks about the evacuation, and the signalman admits he couldn't catch the wave. Sending his radio operator John to adjust the radio, Jake goes to Eric. Eric admits that he can't handle it due to his health and asks to take command. "I'm not thinking straight."
Take command.
Gathering all the people, the new commander sets the task. Prepare to move out, rescue the wounded, deploy the smoke grenade. Paralyzed. Then he orders John to call 4 Bradleys. 2 for the wounded, 2 for the others. The Alpha 2 fighters take the second floor, covering the radio operator. 2 go out onto the balcony, where they exchange fire with shooters on neighboring roofs. John finds out that the command is not risking sending expensive Bradleys for them due to the threat of improvised explosive devices, so they are waiting for orders from above. Jake asks the radio operator to pretend to be the very command from above and give the go-ahead to use the equipment to get them all out. He does just that. The deception works, and the vehicles move out to the evacuation address. Now it's just a matter of holding out until they arrive. In a fit of practical bravado, the Alpha 2 fighters gather their colleagues' gear, including what was scattered after the explosion in front of the gates. When there are 4 minutes left until the arrival of the first pair of Bradleys, the shooters on the balcony crawl back into the house, especially since it's getting hot out there. Upon learning that the locals plan to flank from the roofs, Jake orders a show of force and then gives commands. The radio operator is to instruct the vehicles to park on both sides, and the soldiers are told which direction to carry. Without wasting precious minutes, the soldiers use a carpet as a stretcher and place Elliot on it, carefully turning him from side to side. But Sam, due to the shortage of carpets, will have to be carried by hand. A minute before evacuation, the plane, flying very low like a crocodile, conducted another show of force. While the locals were still recovering from the impact of scientific and technological progress, Bradley carefully parked near the house. Then the soldiers, in unison and coordinated, exit the house, carefully carrying the wounded, covering their loading with suppressive fire. They wait until both casualties are inside the vehicle, after which some of the Marines leave with them while the rest retreat back into the house. Then the Bradleys, under ineffective fire from automatic weapons, depart. The drone operator reports that the thermal imager shows numerous enemy activities on the neighboring rooftops. Realizing that the second floor is a source of threat for them, Jake asks the second pair of evacuators to smash it to pieces before loading and at the same time to put on another show of force. Upon arrival, the Bradleys fulfill the request, showering the buildings with fire from their weapons, after which a plane flies directly over them, creating a wave of air. Taking advantage of the resulting chaos, the Marines exit the house in an organized line, crowding into the steel bellies of the armored machines. When the last fighters are inside, the ramps close and the evacuation moves to the final stage, reaching the base. Once assured that the uninvited guests have left, the host steps out onto the street, where local men who participated in the siege of the house captured by the Marines are gathering. The film ends with footage from the shoot, where the real-life prototypes of the characters help the actors get into their roles. There are also photos comparing the real Marines with their movie counterparts.